So the next presentation is from Dr. Santosh Ansumali of Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research. He will talk on towards high fidelity aerodynamic and aeroacoustic simulation of launch vehicles. So
first of all, I would like to thank organizers to giving me an opportunity to speak here. Opportunity to speak here. So I am Santosh Ansumali from Jawaharlal Nehru Center, and I will talk about the technologies we have developed for the space vehicle simulation for the aeroacoustic. The technology was developed at Jawaharlal Nehru Center, and now the computer code is being developed and commercialized via this startup called Sankhya Sutra. So just a brief about Sankhya Sutra. Sankhya Sutra is a startup at Jawaharlal Nehru Center. We started in 2015, and by now we have around 40 staff. We do lots of high fidelity simulations of structure and aerodynamics and so on. So this is a kind of simulations capability we can have. So why high fidelity simulation and why aeroacoustic? So this is one example of in the space application where one would need a very high fidelity turbulence simulator for aeroacoustic. So here I've shown a typical comparison of existing technology which are often RANS based, how this flow would look like and how LES is supposed to take care of that. And this is a necessity for these kind of launch vehicles where the Mach numbers are in transonic regime and flow is very strong, so one need detailed transient simulations which RANs cannot capture anyway. The more difficulty comes because of the transonic speed. As a technology, what we have is lattice-Boltzmann method, which is essentially a mesoscale method where you don't represent the hydrodynamics at the microscopic level, but you go slightly microscopic. Advantage is a lot of flexibility comes. It's more computer friendly and so on. At JNCSR, we have developed 3 tools which allowed us to have LES simulations for realistic applications. So one of the first is large time stepping via, essentially a time stepper which replaces turbulence models and which allows us to work with a model-free environment with a reasonable grid points. The other part which we picked up from computer graphics is a BCC-based mesh. So it is a optimal compromise in some sense between structured grid and unstructured grid. Then we have some computer science optimization. Based on this, we managed to extend this method, lattice-Boltzmann, for transonic regime. And our code is probably one of the fastest for this kind of large eddy simulations level resolution. Just to give few applications quickly. So this is a transonic delta wing. Here you can see at one angle you have a shock vortex interaction, and the other place you have vortex is diffusing. These kind of effects are observed experimentally in these, this level of Mach number and all. We are able to capture to give more quantitative comparison. Here is an example of aeroacoustic in transonic cavity. So this is in large aircrafts like this. This is the detailed simulations which we have performed, and this is the prediction of pressure levels and detailed frequency levels matching from our code and experiment. Now coming to the launch vehicle. So this is the ongoing work. Here we have completed the flow simulations. You can see that for typical payload fairing, we are able to predict the CP and CF profile in a reasonable manner. And here we have comparison of the, we don't have the comparison yet. We have the pressure level, sound pressure level at different frequency. Challenge here is to do it at a very low frequency, the simulation. So we are hoping with 3 weeks of simulations, we will be able to do up to 100 Hz simulations, and we plan to compare with the experiment now. With this, I'll conclude. We have code which can do aeroacoustic simulation almost at the alias level resolution. This class of model has better stability. They have better performance. So in that sense, they would not require that high number of grid points to do the detailed simulations of launch vehicles. And it can capture transonic flow. And aeroacoustic is built into this solver. With this, I will stop.
So, thank you, Dr. Santosh. I think we have time for one or two questions.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. How did you model the acoustic part into the lattice-Boltzmann solver?
So there is no separate model because it's a compressible code, and all the scales are resolved at that level. So you don't need a separate model for acoustic. So you just analyze the pressure data.
So the scale difference is not that much, the acoustic scale and the lattice-Boltzmann scale. The difference of scale. The difference of scale between acoustic scale and the standard lattice-Boltzmann scale. They are of the same order, the scale.
The time step at the grid level is of the order of acoustic time scale, typically in lattice-Boltzmann. So in that sense, lattice-Boltzmann is suitable for acoustic applications. So it's not taking a hydrodynamic time step; it's taking acoustic time steps. So I don't think that there is a time scale gap. Challenge is when you are trying to capture low frequency sound data. It requires a lot of compute power. So for actual payload fairing, I think it's around, Chakri might be able to correct me, 48 node, 3 weeks of simulations to get 100 hertz sound pressure data.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Dr. Santosh.